Hello, I'm Sam,
And I'm Jake.
and this is our YouTube channel. It's called Escape the Wolf. We made a film called Wolf, which hopefully if you're here, you've already seen it. If not, please watch that before you watch this video because this is going to spoil it.
Just, little tiny spoilers. It's
A
not
little
like
bit.
we're watching the whole thing.
But in this video, we're just going to sit down and watch through it because we thought there's a lot of fun facts packed into this thing, and we thought we'd be fun to share with you guys if you're interested.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's to show the lot of bubble gum and duct tape we had to use to get some shots off. So we just wanted to talk in depth of what we did story-wise, writing-wise, on production, on set, all the fun stuff. And when Greg came in and did the masterful editing, some fun stuff, some fun secrets of how we pulled off some sounds.
Yeah. So, little background on this film. We started writing this in the summer of 2021. I think beginning and middle of June is when we first got together and started writing, and then we had it shot by the end of July, and then we spent the last half of 2021 finishing it. So, took longer than it should have, but we got it done.
No, we did. And it was, we'll talk about this throughout the video, really, but we really took more than enough time to write it because we wanted everything to be settled out, because a lot of the writing process was just problem solving. We kept on running into a wall, and then we're like, well, what is the answer to this? And then we would have to go away, come back, and be like, oh, this is the answer. And then we would run right into another wall. So that was a lot of the writing process. And then on the back end, on the post-production, there was a lot of problems that needed to be solved.
And a lot of problems that just didn't get solved, because sometimes that happens. So
yeah, that's
we'll
true.
talk about those too,
That's true.
because we don't think this is a perfect film by any means, but I think we're both proud of it. We're proud of the story that we came up with, and we had fun. We shot it over 3 nights.
Long nights.
Pretty long nights. It took us till our third night to really hit our stride. But we got it done, and now we're gonna break down some fun factoids about it, and hopefully show you that it's not impossible to make something if you want to.
No, it just takes a lot of passion, a lot of hard work, and just having fun. That's really what it's about.
I think we're good. Let's just go ahead and hop into it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so again, if you haven't seen it, it's the first link in the description, because we're YouTubers. So it's the first link in the description.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. And hit it. It's already really good.
Mastercraft.
First thing that I think about with this shot is the fact that it was very lucky that your neighbor right across from you just so happened to move out right as we needed him to, because the camera is set up like in his carport right now.
Yeah, in the middle of his house.
Yeah. There it is. That's the title.
Yep.
A lot of people have asked me, why is it called Wolf? The other title I had in mind was Call Me Back, but it's not as cool as Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf's more mysterious. This is the voice of Greg Johnson, who we mentioned earlier is the editor, sound designer, coolest guy in the world who saved this thing. Little fun fact with here.
I gotta pause it here.
Pause it right there.
I gotta pause it.
So this is only really seen in one shot, this step, but that's actually completely manufactured prop because we needed to have a broken step, but we didn't want to break a step on his ladder.
That'd be so mean.
So my dad and I, mainly my dad, spent like 2 hours in the garage one night, and we made. I took a bunch of pictures for reference of what the attic steps looked like, and then basically just built one from a 2x4. So it's pretty awesome. I still have that attic step, and there's another shot that we didn't end up using that you see it in more glory, but it's an awesome prop.
Yeah, if you took the step that his dad made and the step that was on my attic, you couldn't tell which one was not originally there. It was
Yeah.
so awesome.
Thank you, Papa Grafe, because he
Thank you,
killed
Papa
it.
Grafe.
Papa John.
You did. Another thing right here, I don't know if you can notice it, but I am not walking standing up. I'm actually squatted like
yeah.
a crab walking because we had to set the step in view so we could get that shot. And so
Yeah.
it was lower than the walking height of me. So I had to... And there were so many shots that we had where I would like fumble over my feet or like couldn't, or I just looked too goofy.
Yeah,
because
it's really hard to walk
Sorry.
crouched and make it look natural. But yeah, and if you look closely on the sides of the ladder, you can tell that step is not supposed to connect. And we literally had to wedge it in there to make
Yeah.
it fit. But it works for the shot. It gets the point across that the step broke. So let's keep going. Play it. It was also steaming hot. Your bandage was like sliding off. It was so hot because this was July. Pause it. So,
I gotta...
say what you need to say.
No, you did.
I was just gonna say this is the first time that you hear cool little screeching
A little
wolf
owl.
howl
Yeah.
sound effect, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But this is the first time you hear it, kind of
Yeah.
barely in there.
I think this was the first shot that we did in production where we both kind of sat back and was like, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I just like the leading into the complete black.
Darkness,
Yeah.
abyss. So, all right, I'm gonna play it.
Hit it.
I can't tell
You don't like
I'm gonna,
this shot, do you?
No, I don't. All right, so one
Pause
thing
it.
too is, Sam, you can talk about this more, but this shot is actually flipped.
Yeah.
Why did you flip it?
So, one of those things when you're moving really fast and you're filming something, sometimes you'll just be so focused on getting the shots that you need, the concept of the shot, that you'll kind of forget the rules of the scene. So I knew we needed a shot of the attic door closing. I want to say you weren't even outside at this point. I think you were inside.
I was inside.
And the way that it was shot, being that shot beforehand where Jake's looking up and then he closes it, being on the right side of his face, to then cut to a shot on the right side of the attic door, it completely jumped the geography and it didn't make sense at all. So it's one of those things where, like, just be comfortable messing with the image because the audience doesn't know how it was shot. So we literally just horizontally flipped this shot so that it makes more sense. Because otherwise it was really jarring and kind of confusing. It doesn't seem like a big deal because, like, obviously he's looking at the attic door, but there's just little mental things that when you're watching two images put together, if you don't follow certain rules, it can really mess with your brain and make it jarring. But
it does have
and
to
we did
flow.
this in our last short film too.
Yeah, we did.
The one that we did after this. We did it because we needed an actor to be walking from right to left, but we'd only shot him walking left to right. So we just flipped the image. And it doesn't always work out. If you look closely at that shot that I'm talking about, you can tell because there's numbers on a house that are backwards. But otherwise, you can't tell. So hit it.
Hit it. That is the voice of my very darling, beautiful wife, who did a phenomenal
She did a
job.
great job, yeah.
Also, look at the phenomenal acting of Milo.
Milo killed it.
He knows when to jump down, when to walk with that sass.
Yeah, we couldn't have planned him jumping down, and that's a little digital magic done by Greg Johnson. I did not
Yeah.
track with him. This is my mom. She played the psychiatrist, receptionist. Really appreciate that, Mom. This was also another thing that just, like,
You want me to pause it?
I can keep going. Just things that come up in the writing process. I thought it, like, for some reason got the image of a hammer in a sink, and I was like, that's just odd. Why would there be a hammer in the sink?
Why would they?
I don't know. Maybe because he butchered somebody with it. Love that shot.
Oh, man.
This shot and the next one.
I have to just... I'm sorry, just your craftsmanship. I got to point it out, man. This was I remember watching back through. This was the first point where symbolically you get what's going on, like through the shot. You see the smoke coming off of his head. The noise is rising. He just is looking off, just kind of.
Yeah, this
there.
is one of those shots that you kind of come up with, and you don't know how well it's going to work, and then it's really nice when it actually does work. This shot in particular is probably my favorite, just because it's odd composition. I love the smoke, the steam in the background, and also if you watch the film a second time with the context of what's going on, and you realize that the dialogue that's being spoken is actually talking about him and how he's kind of a creep, it just makes this shot a little more unsettling.
Very.
Because at this point in the film, we really don't know, or hopefully you don't know that there's anything really going wrong. You may get the feeling that something is off, but I think this shot kind of signals that as well, where it's like, it's just a weird composition having you dead center in the frame, but it's not like you're looking into the lens. It's just
shrouded in darkness.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And I will say, like, during the writing process, because just to talk about that a little more, we wanted to portray Charlie as someone you wanted to feel sorry for. And I think that the most people that I've talked to felt sorry for Charlie in the first bit. Like, this guy is just down on his luck. He's, like, having a hard time. And so at this point, that's where what we're trying to convey to you, the audience, is that he's broken. He's a broken character, and he's down on his luck. And so the first time you watch this, and I would agree with you, you don't really truly, you just think it's a beautiful shot, but you watch it the second time, you're like, oh man, this is an image of his mental health.
Yeah, I did have a friend who, for the first half of it, thought it was about trauma. Like, she thought it was going to be a story about trauma, which kind of. But,
yeah.
But it's not.
No.
Well, anyway, let's
Crazy guy.
Hit it.
All right, hitting it.
Can't take a hint. He's clingy. He's persistent.
Really don't know what else to tell you. Anything that was happening.
It was a lot of work to get these lines, all the voicemails, to line up, because obviously these voicemails are not to Charlie; they're to the dead guy. They're to Josh. So making them line up so that they sound legit in context with what you're seeing.
Do have to shout out my wife. This is not actually a TV that I just turned on. This is my wife holding one of Sam's lights that has a TV little setting on it.
Yeah.
So good job.
Good job.
Good job, Rebecca.
There's a few little Easter eggs on that box. My parents' anniversary's on that box. The first address I lived in. This is a fun shot.
I know. I got it. Yeah, no.
So this shot is one of those that, like, you have it in your head, but, like, you don't really think through how you're going to get it. And so, I mean, I'll throw up a picture of how we did it. It's just one of those things where, like, you just have to make it work. We just flipped a bench upside down, or a stool.
A bar stool.
A bar stool upside down, clamped the cardboard box on it, and had the camera pointing up.
Which it fit perfectly, almost.
It fit really well.
Yeah.
But thank goodness you caught this. The first, 3 takes we did, you didn't have the bandage on your head.
I didn't. No, I remember.
I think this was the first shot, probably of probably the second night we shot.
Second night we shot. Yeah.
So there's just the little things you forget, and so we got to take 3, and you were like, "Hey, dude, I don't have my bandage on," which is one of those things that would slide by, but we would be so mad,
so upset
if we got 3 shots into the night and realized, especially. I mean, we were starting at 7:30, 8:30 every night because it was summer, so the sun doesn't go down until 8:30. So that was rough.
This is my third favorite shot.
Really?
Of the film, yeah.
I like this one.
2 ahead. The first one, or the second one, was the tea kettle, smoke going off the head. The first one is almost fixing to come out. But this was one of my favorite shots in the film, just because it's creative. It's one of those shots, it's like, yeah, technically it's, but it's just purely creative,
Yeah.
And I love
it. Hit it.
Hit it. All right, Greg's masterful editing coming in through there.
Yeah. Okay, so
Guess whose voice that is?
yeah, that's me.
Ah,
Yeah.
look at that.
So this is probably my least favorite sequence.
Yeah.
This is one of the things we shot last, I think, just because I think we were subconsciously putting it off because it's just 2 pages of I think the script's like 10 pages.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 2 pages of dialogue, and it's you sitting on a couch or sitting on the chair. So like visually, there's not much going on. So there's a lot of exposition in this scene, like things we had to get in there for the story to make sense by the end. I just wish. I don't know. I wish we'd either set it in a different location or I wish I'd gotten more creative, at least gotten a few more angles, things
Yeah.
to cut to, because this is very like. Anytime I watch the film, I usually skip this part because it is just 2 minutes of like this angle mostly.
And one of the things we learned from this was to do a shot list because we didn't do a shot list. And if we had a shot list on hand, this would have helped of like, hey, bro, this is only 2 different angles of one long conversation. How can we make it more entertaining, make it more...
Yeah, that's the thing is like, because that is a problem with scenes like this is like, you don't want it to be, obviously it's about the dialogue, so you don't need to have like crazy camera moves and stuff because
No.
the scene doesn't call for it, but like, if you lose interest, then it doesn't matter if the information that you're conveying is important because if you're not listening to it because you
Still-
zoned out.
I still feel like I didn't sell that phone drop right there.
Greg laughed every time you did
I
that.
know,
by the way.
it's so goofy. I love it. You remember?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We on an edit, just for background, we accidentally played the piano music you're fixing to hear when he tried to open the phone, and it just...
Yeah, it made it a comedy. Like, playing music over that shot is hilarious.
This is my favorite shot of the film.
I do like this one a lot. Yeah.
It just... I think I didn't initially get this. Can I pause it?
Yeah, pause it.
Okay. I didn't initially get this when I first watched the film, but I got it more and more as we did. If you see the 2 different reflections of Charlie, you have the light and you have the dark, showing the 2 sides of Charlie that we present to you, that there's 2 split, I would say, personalities or egos inside of him that we're portraying. And I think this shot just beautifully, it was a beautiful, not accident, it was just happened to
I mean, we planned this shot
to have those reflections,
around the window.
the reflections, the bay window. But the meaning came out more and more as the more I watched it too.
Yeah, we totally meant to do that.
Yeah, totally. Sam also has a huge. Was it your floodlight or was it just an
Actually,
LED?
I think it was just 2 small LEDs that were propped up outside. It was raining that night. You can kind of see
and
the beginning of the
lightning,
scene. Yeah,
lightning too. So Sam almost died for this film.
yeah, basically.
No biggie.
Yeah, hit it.
Hitting it.
Something that does annoy me is we only did 1 take of this piano, and there's mistakes in it, and I really wish we had just recorded it again. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's my wife,
Yep.
which makes it a little bit more creepy. But
Dude, some of these pictures are so creepy. If
yeah,
you have the
no,
context.
yeah. Well, I remember we chose photos where you don't see
Or he's like
anyone.
over.
Yeah,
or
just
over
like
the
these
shoulder.
could be stalker photos, guys. Like this could be they're just hanging out as friends, and
And
he's
he's like-
taking pictures of her. Like that's what we wanted to portray in those pictures. He's so in love. Can you see it?
You did that. You did all those letters in there. Nice
Yeah.
handwriting.
Thank you.
I do like how this scene ends with. I like that, and I
Yeah,
like the
that was.
ending on that. And then this
He
is
played the piano, by the way. He did phenomenal.
then this is the scene where it should hopefully turn, and you realize that
gotta-
there's something going on.
I gotta pause it though.
Pause it. Hit it.
No,
Pause
wait,
it.
wait. Just
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, pause it. So, that is one that anytime I've watched it with with people, there's always a little chuckle when that happens because it's obvious
yeah.
that either the cat is jumping off of the ceiling or he's being thrown, and he was definitely being thrown.
What you don't see is off frame is my wife holding Milo, our wonderful actor cat, and
Beat
just,
out another actor.
Yeah, beat out Otis,
Yeah.
Odie Bean. Yeah, Milo and Otis, by the way. But she's crouching down and getting ready the whole time and just chunking Milo onto my chest. And I don't think this was the most difficult shot. I don't even think it took us over 10 times, did it?
Yeah, I don't know. The Milo stuff definitely was. He did a great job, and it worked a lot better than I thought it would. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're working with an animal that's untrained, it's just always going to be tough.
No, and when I say throw, I'm not mean like I'm
No,
over exaggerating.
she underhanded him.
Yeah, no, like tossed them into
But
me.
like Greg and I were literally chopping frames because I think if this shot was one frame longer, you could see Rebecca's fingers. And
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
this like doesn't really work that well because again, it's kind of clear that he's being thrown. But this was the best take we had. I think we did at least 5 takes of it. But when you're moving as fast as we were, we kind of just needed to take what we could get and move along.
Definitely. But props to you, Milo. You did
job, Milo.
phenomenal. You were a good sport.
All right, and hit it.
Hitting it. That's my nickname for him. Bubba. On cue, Milo.
I think. Well, we added that in. That wasn't.
What's that?
Why is there blood on it?
All right, there is some explanation. There is
Pause
some
it. So-
explanation.
I hate that shot is out of focus, because it should be the shot where it's like, oh snap, what's going on?
Yeah.
We had 2 other options, I think, for the shot, both of which were in focus, but the TV was on in the background,
And I was the goofball who put on the NBA Finals.
which I did not know was an issue, but according to Greg, our editor,
Caught
that
it
can be a
quickly.
very big problem.
Yeah.
We messed around a little bit with masking out the TV and like making a black solid, but it just looked ridiculous every time. And also, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with having you turn on the TV at the beginning of the film, and then we never see you turn it off. So it's kind of like the rules on whether the TV is on or not are kind of
No one caught it, though.
yeah.
Thankfully.
I mean, it's
We
not
caught
something you're gonna notice,
No. We
but yeah. So we just went with the shot that was out of focus, but had the TV off just for safety.
And I remember when we were writing this, I remember when we came to this point, we wanted to really make sure that the shot we did was not jump scare, or we didn't even like
Well,
what's the
there's
word,
no
like we
sound
didn't
cue.
acknowledge we
Yeah.
didn't acknowledge that there's blood on his shirt. We want you to acknowledge it, we want you to see it, but we don't even like he doesn't notice it. We're not going to tell you that something's wrong. You're just going to see it.
Yeah.
I remember we really wanted to do that.
This whole film really is, you're following it exactly from his perspective, like you're learning information as he learns it, but
Yeah.
for this one we wanted it to be the audience sees it beforehand, and the character doesn't notice it, just to add some tension leading into the bathroom scene.
Yeah, and the tension it did bring.
It did.
Oh my goodness. Hitting it.
I love that you give
Just
him like
4.
3 pieces of food.
Charlie's
So he's
abusive.
the hungriest cat in the world.
This.
I like the cutting
Right
to the empty
there.
hallway.
Yeah.
Did work well.
It took something so simple and made it really creepy.
Yeah.
I really love it.
And then this bathroom scene, this shot was the first shot we did. We shot it completely out of order, but this was the first one we did.
Milo on cue again.
Yeah. I wish there was something on that bathroom wall, because this is just very flat looking.
We did just move into this house.
Yeah,
Which explains
which
all
works
the boxes.
well.
It
It
does.
works.
It does. Oh, is this when the howling really starts?
Yeah, so now, yeah. So you can keep it going, but you start to hear this like choir music, like very unsettling, which some of this is music that we already had, some of it's music we wrote, and then this like, I think you hear it like 3 different times throughout the film, this just like unsettling choir. Greg, being a genius, one of the times he and I were sitting down and editing right before we ended our like session, he was like, I just want to try something, and he took the tea kettle whistling from earlier and slowed it down to about 40% and hit play, and this is what came out of that. And immediately we were just like, put it everywhere.
love that editing cut, by the way.
Yeah, that was, which was your idea. That was like the first cut you ever made
Yeah.
when we still thought we were going to edit it.
Right. But also the choir, the wolf howl was the tea kettle slowed down. The choir that you hear was, I have asthma,
Yeah.
and my mom's going to hate this when she hears this, but I'm going to pause it right here because
Yeah.
I do need to signify something. I have asthma, and I remember we were just cleaning our new house, and some dust got kicked up, so I had a really bad throat, and I was wheezing pretty badly.
Really bad.
And I could do this thing where I would do this like just breathe out like that, but there was like 4 different tones.
Yeah.
that came
Yeah, it sounds
out.
like you had a
I
bunch of
remember
voices.
I was like driving home one day and I did it, and I don't know if I called you or I texted you.
sent
I'm
me a
like,
voice memo.
yeah, I'm like, Sam, listen to this. And he's like, what the heck did you do?
Yeah.
And so we sent it over to Greg, and then I came over, and that one day we edited it all together, and we recorded it and put it in there, and then Greg, being the masterful editor he is split it in 4 different ways. Like he changed the pitch of it and just made it, what sounded like 4 to 5 people turned into like 50.
Yeah,
And
so what you hear is a mixture of the slowed down and like affected him wheezing, and then there's the slowed down tea kettle, which that's really all the score is during the unsettling parts, is those 2 things mixed
and
together.
then the plucking violins, which I wish we could go back, but we can point to that moment. Is there's a time where the violins, the plucking does right, and then we had the idea of reversing it back so it climbed back up.
Yeah.
Just because I remember when we first started writing this, I showed you that YouTube video of one of the scariest scenes of all time. And why is it scary is most people are so used to the jump scare. You know, you get presented a threat and then you think it's safe. And then the prestige happens where, oh, you're not safe, and the jump scare comes. Well, that little in between, when you get presented the gun, you show that it's loaded and you're waiting for the gun to go off. That waiting for the gun to go off is the scariest place you can be.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to keep you there as long as we could and not have any jump scare that came and ruined the moment. So switching that violin and keeping this whole scene going with that tension really, I think, pulled off like what we wanted, because I don't remember the rough cut that we first watched. All 3 of us were sitting back in our chairs,
when we
tears coming to our eyes, just like, what have we created?
Yeah, when we first dropped the choir and the breathing on the bathroom scene.
Gosh.
Because it was originally, I think, just at the end, and then we were like, hey, let's put it over the bathroom scene and see what happens. And we it's one of those moments where we didn't even have to like line anything up or cut to the music. We just literally laid it under there, the visuals we'd already cut, and pressed play, and it just like kept climbing. It was very intense.
Yes, just tears coming to our eyes and all looking at each other like we have created a monster and we love it. Oh, also one other thing to just note. I didn't catch this. I don't think we caught it when we first did it, but Charlie is on all 4s like a wolf.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. It's just someone noted that to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he is. Did y'all mean to do it? Yeah, totally. Hitting it.
Hit it.
Hit it.
All the little fun fact,
That's a good shot.
debating the whole time when we were writing, like, how am I gonna make these bloody paw prints? Like, I don't want them to look cheesy and like have the outlines of a cat's paw, and ended up just being took a cotton ball and dabbed it in blood and then wiped off a bunch of it and then would hit it wherever we needed bloody paw prints. This is something we had an idea of pretty early on.
Yeah, him watching all the windows.
Yeah, with the split light. It could have been better. It was a pain to try and rig up that setup to get the light to split on your face.
This is the first time I think in the movie we really get to see Charlie's psyche, what do you call it? Mental state is how quickly he goes from fear to happy,
Yeah, he just completely snaps out of it.
which shows, someone with that ability can forget
Yeah.
that he did something.
This
And I remember when we did the scene, we wanted Charlie to act like an innocent kid.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, I
he's
remember
talking to his crush.
Yeah, I remember talking to him and like this when he's on the phone and she like confronts him and realizes that she's talking to Charlie and not her boyfriend, that you should be like a little kid who got in trouble and you're like trying to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You're
My
just so
wife's-
happy to be talking to
Yeah, no, just so. And this right here. Creeper.
Yeah, and then whenever you say what's wrong, we jump the line, hopefully being like something's not right here. So people have asked me like, did he genuinely not know what he did? Yes, he genuinely did forget. That's combined with him hitting his head, and then I think also a lot of
His
it
mental
is
state.
he's just so like.
Compartmentalize his.
I do wish we'd done a little bit more to show that, like, maybe laid some more seeds to show that he is kind of a weird guy.
Zoom out.
So, right here, I think there's the sound, like this creaking sound, which was just the attic, but slowed down. Another Greg little dollop of genius.
Wizardry.
Yeah.
This isn't actually my attic.
Yeah.
Fun story. I'm going to pause it.
Pause it.
Pausing it. Is we, I think very early on in the production stage, we realized we're not going to be able to film in my attic because my attic was like, you walk
You can
into
only
the
crawl
attic
in it.
and your head's hitting the nail.
Yeah.
Like, your head's hitting the roof. And so we knew that we were going to have to film at Sam's parents' attic to really pull off this stuff. And this is shot at 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and the attic is like right over Sam's parents' bedroom.
So they're asleep right now.
Asleep, we're trying to be as quiet as a mouse and do this very tense scene. And Sam's knees, let me tell you,
Snap, I forgot about that. Yeah,
he
that
was
rough.
on them the whole time. Like,
And
this
it's hot
guy
up there.
looked like Spider-Man. He was just doing like so many different angles just to get these shots. And I gotta
You gotta
Good
tap
on
my
you.
knee.
Yeah.
You gotta tap my knee for that one. Yeah. This was this is the last scene we shot. There's only one scene. It's a scene in the script, but really it's not a scene that we cut entirely. There were 2 shots of you outside the attic door, looking up at the string, and then ironically, the shot that I think we did the most takes of, we ended up just cutting entirely, which is you reaching for the attic string.
which yeah.
It's one of those. So that was originally. He gets off the phone, looks out the window. We cut to you standing under the door. You look up at it, open the door, cut to this, and it's just one of those things that when you're writing it, you feel like you need to see how you got from A to B to C, but your brain is smart enough, and we've seen enough movies that if you cut out B and just go from A to C, typically your brain can fill in the gaps and you don't need to. It just killed I couldn't put a finger on it when Greg and I were trying to work through the big like bulk of the footage. I just couldn't put my finger on why the ending had like the pace of it was just so slow. And then I was like, let's just see if we can cut that out. And once we cut it out, it immediately just felt so much better, which I love it when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the last scene we shot, and we were pretty much just doing sign language the entire time because we couldn't talk.
Basically, we couldn't even whisper. We just had to. It
Hit it.
really tested our filmmaking abilities hitting it. There's blood.
How did he get the body up there? Don't ask.
Charlie's a strong boy.
Greg did a little
got-
magic in that shot. Hang on, wait, keep it going.
Okay.
And then pause it. So this shot, if you pay close attention, you can see the background is like rotating in an opposite direction that you are, and that was little Greg. One of the first things that Greg did, because we cut it completely out of order for whatever reason, and he just did a little mask around you and made the background a separate layer and rotated it and started to blur it. So if you pay close attention, the background is rotating in a different direction and slowly getting more and more out of focus, and that's all Greg.
It's Greg's master editing. And before this shot, we can pull up a little picture right here. There is a shoe tucked over in the corner that was supposed to show that, hey, that's Josh's body. Not a lot of people saw the shoe. Just wanted to say.
I think everybody that I've shown it to has seen it.
Huh.
I believe so. Which originally wasn't even in there, and then you're like, let's add it in,
just
people know
to
for
show,
sure.
Yeah, just to show, like, because when it's panning up from the blood, you don't see anything. But if you just have like something so simple and so there to show that, hey, there's a body right there. We never wanted to show the body. I remember that. We never wanted to show.
That can get cheap real fast.
And like, oh my gosh, this is in my memory. Is I remember when we were first writing this, we were talking about like loading, like getting a fake mannequin and putting it in a garbage bag and all this different stuff, and we just got to the point where we were like, this is too hard.
Yeah,
let's just show a shoe.
That funny story. That shot panning up from the blood to the shoe was the last shot we did on the film, and that was me. That
torturing his knees.
That was. I wasn't even on my knees. I was on the ladder at that point. But I think I did like 9 or 10 takes of that, and I was getting the focus better each time. So I was like, I'm gonna do it one more time, and I start panning up, go to rack focus, and the shoe fell over, and I just shut the camera off. I was like, we got it on taking. I'm sure.
Filmmaking.
Hit it.
Hitting it.
And we kind of painted ourselves in a corner with this last shot because this was
Yeah.
the only last shot we got. So we had to end the film this way.
Those aren't actual cops, by the way. That's an idea.
Yeah, as much as you think we got real cops to.
This was Greg's idea. That jump.
It was, yeah.
That was amazing.
So, fun fact: this music is the same melody, same basic melody as the music that's playing when he's opening the box. It's just minor this time. Hopefully showing you that, like,
darker turn.
Yeah, it's more twisted than you thought it was. The kind of love melody has now turned into this creepy, twisted psycho melody. Special thanks to all those people. Really,
especially Constant Power.
Yeah, we needed them in this, and then the guys who inspired us. Hats off.
I think what we've taken from Wolf, we are proud of it. It's definitely a flawed film. Has a lot of hiccups, has a lot of mistakes that we made, but I know we're proud of it. I think we are definitely glad that we did it.
Learned a lot.
We're glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks to. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know. It's 13 minutes, but it is 13 minutes that people took to sit down out of their day and watch it. So we appreciate anybody who did watch it, even if it's just friends and family who's like, obviously I'm going to watch what you made. But like it does, we've had people come up to us when we're in a coffee shop and be like, hey, I saw your film. I really liked it. People we know. I should say it's not
random people.
We don't have strangers coming up and telling us they watched it. But like,
that would be awesome though.
Yeah, but like I've had people who I never would have thought would actually click on a link on my Instagram story, and they watched it and they're like, hey, I really liked it. And it's just like, even if you were lying and just being nice, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.
No, it does. It means a lot. It means the world that we created something that is enjoyable and can entertain you and tell you a story that you like. And I know like the biggest thing we got from Wolf 2 is we learned a whole lot of lessons and a whole lot of tips that we're going to carry over into every other project. We've already carried over into other projects we did. And so it's kind of the journey we're on, is learning every step of the way. And this was a really fun memory.
Yeah, and we're kind of now, this is kind of closing the book on this short film, which again started back in summer of 2021, and now we're about to start. We have a goal right now to have something shot by the end of summer 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of just now getting started on another filmmaking journey. So hopefully that turns out well.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Let's
happens.
We'll all see what happens.
We will. Maybe we'll be doing another one of these. We'll see.
Yeah, a continuation of
And
Charlie's
maybe it'll
story.
be terrible.
Yeah.
Wolves? Question mark with the dollar sign for that?
There's more Charlies? Josh isn't actually dead?
No. But
Jinx.
Jinx. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. We have another film coming out very soon that you can also find on this channel. Anything that we do going forward will be on this channel. So if you want to keep up to date with that, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to this channel, and that will be where those things go.
Yeah, and it'll definitely help us out and encourage us that, hey, they want to see what we make. So let's make.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye now. Bye now.
bye. I don't know how to end this.
I don't know either.